Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, delivered to you by the great folks at DoorDash.
Ding dong.
Use promo code CONVODD, capital C, capital D's, all one word, CONVODD. That will get you 25% off and free delivery on your first order with the DoorDash app.
Last night I hit DoorDash up yesterday. Boom, orange chicken, and I got soup dumplings, 8 different flavors. I was eating them all throughout the game.
Very nice.
Orange chicken. I don't get orange chicken often. I'm normally a honey garlic or a sweet and sour guy. But no, I went with orange chicken last night. I'm orange chicken. It might be the best of the like basic Chinese food. Sweet and sour pork, honey garlic chicken. What's another one? Sesame chicken. I don't know, but the orange chicken was excellent.
Nice. I got sushi last night.
Really?
Yep.
What kind of sushi?
I got chicken teriyaki.
I think you got your sound up there on the computer. I can hear it.
That's the phone behind you.
Oh,
we're using my phone as camera 3 today, which I hate doing. This is my first time doing it.
That's fine.
That's okay. I don't love it. I don't think you can hear it on the mics. But
no, that's fine.
We got a show. We got a show to do. The Canucks, Chris. They don't have a win yet. Oh, God,
here we go. Yeah, right in the chat. First, let's get to the people in chat here. Matt's here. Lisa's here. Cody's here. Range is here. They want some orange chicken talk. They got it right there.
I can't see the chat today,
Ding dong,
folks.
says Knucklehead. Yeah, whatever you want to say about quads, he will not see it today. He's using his phone. Because I got Amazon delivery. I got Amazon deliveries coming in today. My fiance, she's gonna kill me if I don't get these because sometimes I miss them. Then then you walk down the street to go get them.
You don't have a mail room?
Well, we have a mail room, but they won't leave them there sometimes. Depending on who delivers it.
So what do you mean down the street? What are you talking about?
Well, I got to go down this street here. I don't even know what it's called, business mail or something. You got to go get the mail down there, and I can't go get it for her because. You need like her ID and her name on the package, so that she has to go get, and then I'm not dealing with that. I don't want to get my ass beat for the next little bit here. So I'm just gonna sit my phone here and deal with it that way.
So your shopping habits are the reason I can't see the chat today.
Just a little bit. I mean, no, I just don't want to get my ass beat, so I'm staying in this way. And when I get a phone call here, I'll quickly buzz them in, and it'll be good. Don't have to worry about anything.
You sound like a Canuck with the level of ownership you're taking over this situation.
Listen, man. Yeah, this is a comeback story right here because the past couple of weeks here, I've had a couple times where I just have missed the packages here.
Okay.
We've been talking about this, or we talked about this earlier in the week. The Amazon packages that I get for some reason, they come at 9 p.m. Her packages, they all come at 1 o'clock. As soon as the show starts, boom, there's like a Pure Later guy, a FedEx guy, the Old Navy person. They bring all their stuff at the same time, right when I'm busy.
A dishwasher mechanic that was going to walk in.
Yeah, that guy didn't even show up yesterday. I got a broken washing machine again.
Okay. All right, let's get to the hockey talk. Chris, the Vancouver Canucks don't have a win yet. We talked about it yesterday, and folks, we're going to do our best not to disappoint and deliver on the promise because yesterday we talked about it and we said, look, this is a must-win game. The Canucks are playing meaningful games in October. Every game is a must-win for this team at this point. It's looking, Chris, like you don't have a win through 5 games. This team's literally going to have to play at a 100-point pace just to make the playoffs. Like, that's where we're at already in the season. They're just going to dig themselves a hole. And again, like the Buffalo Sabres just beat the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames. They're coming in for the home opener on Saturday night. Canucks had an off-ice workout at 8 rinks today in Burnaby. Again, they don't really have a rink. Also, did you see this thing about Zach Brown Band, apparently? Have you seen this?
I've seen a little bit.
They've canceled the concert at Rogers Arena and nobody knows why.
Interesting.
We definitely don't know why, so we're not going to speculate, but it's just something I've seen on Twitter. It's interesting. I joked that they're trying to finish the renovations in time for tomorrow. So they're like, nope, you can't come. You can't perform here tonight. I don't think that's actually true.
Could you imagine down to the last minute? It's like one of those HGTV shows where it's like, we got 48 hours to change over this house. That's what they're doing in the locker room right now.
That's
probably.
Right.
Better be nice too. We're going to be in there tomorrow morning.
I saw some banners going up around the rink today with Our Pursuit. Our Pursuit.
Why did they change so quick from unfinished business to Our Pursuit?
Well, this is what I was trying to figure out.
The backlash online was, I think that would have done enough.
Sure. So the unfinished business, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to make fun of anybody. That was a little bit of a botched attempt. You're not really seeing it much anymore.
Right.
I don't know if Our Pursuit was brought in after as like a cover-up or if they were going to do both, because I was thinking about this. If you put in an order for these banners and you changed it on the fly, like this month, if you changed it this month, would you have them that quick? Because like when did they change from unfinished business?
Like a week ago, maybe?
I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I don't think they deserve too much flack for this. I think the unfinished business thing, yeah, sure, it's funny, but someone probably got yelled at for that.
What do you think about everyone? I'm seeing a couple actually here in the YouTube chat. Everybody with the Quinn Hughes face on their
I have no comment on that.
No, I don't either. I don't know what happened last night,
Yeah,
but everybody on Twitter is, at least, Canucks Twitter is coming together for something, which is good to see.
So the Canucks are winless on the road. They don't play Jack Rathbone. Riley Stillman goes down with a headshot. We're expecting to see Jack Rathbone in the lineup tomorrow. Finally, like we've been saying it for a while, we can't believe this guy hasn't got a shot yet. He had a really good story with, well, he didn't write the story. Harmon Dial of The Athletic wrote the story, chatting with Jack Rathbone. And, Rathbone's really keeping a positive mindset here. And he's saying, like, as soon as I get in, I have to prove that I belong. And, he's not getting discouraged. And he even said, like, ultimate team guy, that Jack Rathbone. He even said,
good kid.
Whatever they think is the way to get us out of this mess, I'm on board with that. So if that doesn't involve me, I'm on board. Whatever. Like that was the gist of what he said to Harmon Dial. And that's a really good story. So go check it out at The Athletic. But Jack Rathbone, expecting to see him in a lineup tomorrow night. Not sure about Riley Stillman. Maybe a back injury if the Miami Dolphins medical team is analyzing him, but does look like took a shot to the head and had to leave the game because of it.
Yeah, got some people in the chat here. Yash, who's an Oilers fan, and nice to hear. I'm feeling sorry for you guys. Feel bad for you guys.
I'm really happy that Yash jumps in the chat every day.
I know. I like to see Yash in there too. Even if even an Oilers fan, you got Connor McDavid in your profile picture. Handle that. But better than Cody's anyways. But anyways, let's wrap it up because this is a 5-game. No, like wrap up the.
Yeah, I know.
Canucks talk. Back to the Orange Chicken we go. No, 5-game road trip. 0-3-2.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't have gone much worse, I think, for the Canucks. Listen, you could have gone 0-5 and got no points out of it, but I think that might have been better than blowing leads in every single game.
You couldn't have done much worse, but you also could have done a lot better. You could have gotten one win, just one.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what makes this is as bad as it can be for me. You blow 4 multi-goal leads to start it. You blow another lead last night. It's just listen, all of Canucks Twitter, they got the same profile picture right now. All of Canucks Twitter is feeling the same way as well about this team, where if there's a lead, it doesn't mean anything. The only thing the most consistent thing you're seeing with the Canucks and their leads is 2 things. They're blowing it and everyone's heading over to Betway and they're betting the Canucks so they can get their, or bet against the Canucks at that point because they're just going to blow a lead.
It's frustrating, right? Because, and like what you don't want if you have any business or, you have a sports franchise, especially, is apathy, right? Like you want people to either love the team or you want people who care be upset about kind of the direction of the team. That's what you want. Like you don't want people to just not care. And it's similar to last year where we started to see the apathy because they're like, nothing's ever going to change. Jim Benning's still the general manager. And then once that change happened, Bruce Boudreau comes in, you started to see some fans come back, right? Like you started to see interest pick up in the team again.
Well, everyone saw that chant first game. Like Bruce said, I don't want to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
What do Canucks fans want to be a part of right now? Laughing? That's all they can do when they come back here to Rogers Arena. Everyone's going to laugh together.
That's the problem.
Someone might throw a jersey on the ice pretty damn soon.
And, that's a real possibility. And that's the problem right now, Chris, is you're seeing more and more of it again this year where people are saying, wow, like I really bought into what happened last year, as did the management team. And we're not seeing any results. Like it's not good right now. And you're seeing more and more fans kind of checking out. And that, we don't like to see that as content creators who are trying to get people to, at least care enough about the team to listen to us talk about it.
You live and die on your page views. What are you going to do here?
Well, the page views are fine. I just want to throw it out there. But in all seriousness, that's what you want to avoid, though, is apathy. And we're starting to see it. We're starting to see it. And that's going to happen when you're the only team in the NHL that doesn't have a win. And you had these playoff aspirations and you went all in with this team. And they're going to have to play at this 100-plus point pace again and probably come up just short again. Let's be honest here.
Think about how good that run was with Bruce Boudreau last year. You're almost going to have to do the same thing. Like, you're only a few games away from getting. It's wild to think, but listen, man, 8 games into the season, that's 1/8 of the way through the year. Like that's a good amount of your season done right there. 8 games, you're 10% through. I know it doesn't seem like a lot right now, but like think about it. If you were failing every test, in the first semester of the year and you failed every test getting like 20, 30%, it's going to be pretty damn tough to get yourself back up to a full grade there. I think Bryce has a good one here. It's not just this season though. This is 10 plus years of this.
That's right.
10 plus years of frustration.
That's right. And that's a great point, Bryce. I wish I could see it myself, but it is a fantastic point because that's really what it comes down to is you're seeing people say, I cared in years 3 and 6. I cared in maybe even year 7 and year 8 of all this. There's nothing there right now, right? Like, again, there's so many different things plaguing this team. And, there's a lot of finger pointing going on, which is what we saw last year as well. I don't think it's obviously as bad as it was last year, but it's not good right now.
You're going to start to see one of the other fingers get pointed here pretty soon as team comes back to home ice without a win here. Pull up the stats here, Alex. Let's chat like the players that we've seen through 5 games here on the road. Listen, it's been a horrible start for the Vancouver Canucks so far. But just looking at this is an interesting one. This is going to transition us into chatting because I literally think we should send a full segment here on the show. I don't even know what we do with segments, but we're going to chat about JT Miller for a long time. And this stat's really one that sticks out to me. Like I look at all these players on this Vancouver Canucks team. Andre Kuzmenko is leading the way with 14 high danger shot attempts. Okay, that's really good. Like Kuzmenko's, he's getting a lot of those on the power play. I think he's getting a couple where he bangs away a few times. Probably gets a few bonus points at that point. But really getting a player who's going to the net hard, getting those shot attempts. Elias Pettersson, he has 40 shot attempts just in general. 4 of those are high danger, but Pettersson's not really a guy who lives in the slot, lives in that high danger area. Before last night, JT Miller, a player who is praised for being, this big, strong, rugged forward, he didn't have a high danger shot attempt at 5-on-5 on the power play, on the penalty kill, anytime on the ice before last night. Last night was the first time we saw JT Miller be around the net and attempt a shot. At 5 games in, you see that. That can't, what's happening here with that? That's ridiculous at this point. And JT Miller has just been, that's just the offensive side of things. That's not even mentioning what we've seen in the defensive zone. I mean, I know that he's out there for a really long shift yesterday, but he stood still for about 8 seconds.
Do you want to get to the quote that he gave Patrick Johnson? Because we really want to dissect this article. And fantastic work
first
by PJ.
I got Alex in here. He's got to pull this off, Alex, the video. This is who's coming into town here. The Sabres are coming into town for the home opener tomorrow night, Saturday. Look at them. They're grittying their way through the locker room. These guys are having fun. This team here, big bodies. Rasmus Dahlin, he's been excellent to start this season.
4 goals in 4 games.
Owen Power, he's playing on. Yeah. This is a big-bodied team playing good, young kids, a lot of good stuff in the locker room. Listen, I don't think you're seeing Elias Pettersson gritty his way through the locker room like we are with Rasmus Dahlin.
Someone tweeted this at me, and I wanted to bring it up because they're saying what hurts the most about this is seeing teams like Anaheim, seeing teams like LA, starting to see San Jose higher in the rankings, and that's they're like. Actually, they're the only team below the Canucks in the standings, but they have a win. What I'm trying to say here is what the person said is just it's painful to see teams like the Sabres, teams like Anaheim, teams, all over the league that were supposed to be behind the Canucks and rebuilding, pass them in a rebuild. Like they're
that's what happens
competitive
when
windows.
Young players, they get streaky. They look good sometimes.
You look
and you're going
to
see a team. You're going to see LA or the Ducks. I think they're going to be one of those teams that the young players have a streaky season where they just work their way into the playoffs.
What the person was saying to me though is, that those teams were winning cups, those teams were in the playoffs, regularly, and then they brought in a new core, they rebuilt on the fly in a way. They had 1 or 2 bad seasons, and now they're already ahead of the Canucks.
What's going on with Alex here?
That's what hurts. That's what the person said hurts the most about this is seeing all those teams that the Canucks are supposed to be better than just absolutely pass them in the same amount of time. That's what, going back to the comment, I think it was from Bryce, 10 years. 10 years. Think of all the teams that have gone through cycles through that time of being competitive and then having a couple down years and then being competitive again. The Canucks have been in this middle phase forever, it feels like.
It's a worse spot to be.
It is. And Jannik Hansen talks about this a lot, right? He talks about, you're not good enough to make the playoffs, but you're not bad enough to get first-round picks.
Yeah, you can't.
Or excuse me, very high draft picks.
You can't keep dipping your chicken fingers in both sauces. You got to pick one or the other. You're either going to go for the rebuild or you're going to go all in. This team, it feels like they've been the team really should have been leaning towards the rebuild for a long time when it just felt like it was, trade picks, get players. This is a team. We've had a few of these comments come in here. Brandon had one. We had another one as well. Matt as well. Have we overvalued the core players on this Canucks team? And I think to a certain degree, there's probably an attachment level that maybe is too high to some of these Canucks players. Listen, was JT Miller a core player? His contract indicates that he is. Is he playing like a core player for the Vancouver Canucks? Absolutely not. I think some of the core players you could look at, like Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, Thatcher Demko, those 3 are the only 3 untouchables that you should really have, and those should be what the core is being built around. But now you look, and I think the way that the money's being given out to Oliver Ekman-Larsson and JT Miller now making so much money. Tyler Myers, listen, say we want about him, but it just feels like the way you build a core in today's day and age has to do so much with how much money they're making.
Yeah.
And to me, it is distributed incorrectly a lot with how you see. So do people overvalue the actual core pieces on this team? A little bit, right? Like I think that people probably have a nice attachment to Brock Besser. There's a lot of people that like Brock Besser. We love his story off the ice, but as a core player of this team, it is tough to see what his future is like. Bo Horvat, I think, is another example. His contract situation puts him into a really interesting spot of what is his future. Is he this core? But to me, I look at it and I say the core of this team, if you put contracts aside, it's you have a forward, you have a defenseman, you have a goalie. I don't have to say the names. You know who it is. It's Pettersson, it's Hughes, it's Demko.
Yeah.
That should be your core that you're building around. It doesn't feel like that is the core that's being built around now. It feels like things have shifted a little bit, specifically with the JT Miller contract. Like JT Miller is the core now. And if he's one of your core players, look at how he's playing through 5 games. Like it's tough. It's in a really tough spot for the Canucks 5 games in. And I think is it too early to hit the panic mode? I mean, just a little bit. It is still a little early, but you should be worried for sure. Like we talked about this in preseason. Should we hit the panic button yet, or should we be worried? It's kind of sucks that everything since training camp for the Canucks has been, we should be worried, right? We haven't had any real positive things come out since the start of training camp. Since aside from Andrei Kuzmenko giving great interviews, I swear, since training camp, has there been one thing where you're like, right on, this organization is feeling this good vibe right now? There's not one
other than Elias Pettersson. I think that's it. Other than Elias Pettersson, and like you said, Andrei Kuzmenko, who's played with Elias Pettersson a lot.
We got it up on the screen now here too. Let's JT Miller, and I saw Micah tweeted this out as well. This is from Ineffective Math. Hockeyviz.com. We love Hockeyviz. Good website.
And just for the podcast listeners, the graph that we're showing is just the Canucks getting absolutely caved in whenever JT Miller's on the ice.
And that's the thing. It's like this is an isolation view of what JT Miller's doing on the ice. It's not, to me, like, okay, the defense is one thing. The expected goals he's giving up plus 17% when JT Miller's on the ice compared to when he's not on the ice. This one is the one that's like, okay, and I know people, I've seen a few people start to turn on my dog rating, which I think has been very accurate so far this season. But JT Miller has not had that dog in him this season. No. And you're seeing that not only in the defensive zone where, yes, he's giving up 17% more expected goals, but how about in the offensive zone, a spot where we didn't think he was going to struggle, honestly. I didn't think he was going to fall off like this. Minus 56% of what the team is doing when JT Miller is off the ice, when he's on the ice at 5-on-5, minus 56%. This guy is not producing at all. He's not generating. Forget producing. He's not generating anything for this team.
And forget producing and generating. He's legitimately a liability when he's on the ice right now. And that's your $8 million player getting outplayed by Neil Zaman.
That contract hasn't even kicked in yet.
Exactly. So he's still a $5.25 million player. But this is what I wanted to point out here is Patrick Johnson did a story, and I don't even know if we have the quotes ready and available.
No,
but okay, well, this is basically what happened and what Miller said to Patrick Johnson. He said, "I'm trying to be patient, but I'm not going to change the way I'm playing away from the puck and in my own end because I don't think I've given up much of anything there." And he talked about how, he's very, he feels like he's played pretty well in his own end and he's not going to change anything there. And here's the thing. I don't even want to rip him for saying that because, look, we all knew JT Miller's not a defensive player. We know he's not a defensive center, okay? So there's no problem there. I have no issue with that because I'm not trying to say, okay, well, he said he was going to work on his defensive game at the start of the year and he deserves to be graded as a defensive center now. No, he's working on it. Sure. I'll even give him that. Okay. The problem is that in the past, he's outscored his defensive problems. And before year 1 of this contract, he's not outscoring any problems. And again, the other problem is you signed this guy who doesn't really play defense to a long-term contract. Like what we're seeing from JT Miller right now is what we thought we would see in years 5, 6, 7 of this contract that doesn't even kick in until next year. Seeing it already is very alarming. It absolutely is very alarming to see it this early on in the contract with Miller.
And it's like, to hear that quote that you brought up, I'm almost blown away by it. Right? Like I see the way that he's playing the defensive zone. I see so much standing around, man. Like, and then he even like comes out and says it a few games ago that like, he needs to be more engaged defensively. And then you hear a different quote today from Patrick Johnson. So I don't know, maybe the question was asked in a different way or something like along those lines. But to transition from JT Miller real quick, because I wanted to get this in as well. And Alex, you can pull this up. The Pettersson ISO.
We're not ready to transition yet. There's another quote. So further, what Miller said, I had to dig it up. He said, my game where I've really tried to work on is 5-on-5 in my own end and worrying about that first, offense later. And if I look at the way I've been playing there, I feel really good about what I've done so far. That's where I have the problem. I don't have a problem with Miller not being the best defensively, but I have a problem with him thinking that he's doing exceptionally well. He's been on the ice. He was on the ice for the first 8 goals, first of all, okay? He's been the Canucks' worst center at both ends of the ice. And look, Bruce Boudreau shortened his bench last night as if it was Game 7 of the Cup final in freaking October. Almost swore. In October, we're talking about this, and JT Miller wasn't there. The contract hasn't even kicked in yet. Like, think about this. It's driving me nuts.
Been on the ice for 4 goals scored by the Canucks, 13 goals against. That 13 goals against, second worst in the league, only to Anaheim Ducks defenseman Dmitry Kulikov, who's been on the ice for 14. And that's
insane. That's actually insane.
And to me, it's not like certain players you can look at sort of like, the way they play, sometimes certain analytics don't look well for them. JT Miller's a guy who is offensively, his analytics have always looked good. Yep. He's a guy who would drive play to the offensive zone. He'd drive play towards the net. This one's shocking to me. The lowest expected goals on the Vancouver Canucks at 5-on-5, the percentage that he has. So when you're on the ice, the expected amount of goals, you could call it like out of 100, 27.76%.
I'm just trying to figure out
what he's sitting at. It's unbelievable to see this start to the season.
I'm just trying to figure out what changed from when Miller gave the quote of, I can't really comment on anything because I can't even lead by example right now. I've been on for all 8, and he had
was that 4 days ago?
Very candid examination of his game.
Yeah.
And since then, he's added 6 more goals against that he's been on the ice for. And now he's like, wow, I'm actually doing really good there. Sorry, is Kulikov giving quotes like this in Anaheim saying, well, you know what? I know I'm the worst player on the ice in the entire league in terms of giving up goals, and I'm not producing any offense, but I really like the way I'm playing. Is Kulikov giving quotes like that? Because if he did, he'd be out. He'd be in San Diego with the Gulls.
Nice poll there. The AHL team. Good stuff. No, I love the stuff that we're seeing in the chat here.
I wish I could.
From Knucklehead, when you call an Abby game, will you bring up the dog rating on air? Maybe. If I get a chance to go and do another game in Abbotsford, we'll see what happens. Yash says, better clear up that number 98. Yeah, I heard Bedard wears 98 because he thinks he's one better than McDavid. So when he gets here, he's going to be ripping it up.
That's a good one.
And I tweeted this out a long time ago. I've seen somebody leaving the rink with a Connor Bedard 98 Canucks jersey. The jersey is out there somewhere.
Wasn't it a reverse retro too?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Like old one, the Sprite can.
Yeah, the Sprite
that
can jersey.
Never wore.
No,
That's
it's incredible.
So funny.
Let's get to one from Matt here. We could transit. There are some positive takeaways. And actually, before we get away from it too much, we were showing that graphic a little bit earlier about JT Miller, and the numbers were not great. We have Elias Pettersson's up here as well that I do want to get to. Here's JT Miller's lots of blue. You flip over to Elias Pettersson. He has been excellent in both ends of the ice. We talked about how bad JT Miller looked with a minus 57%, I think it was, for expected goals. Elias Pettersson, compared to what the rest of the Canucks are doing, he is putting up an expected goals per 60 of 391, which is plus 41%. And that is a ridiculous amount of offense being generated from Pettersson. That's just the offense. That's impressive enough for Pettersson. Like that, if you have plus 41%, I know it's a small sample size up to this point, but that's still incredible through 5 games. On top of that, he's playing excellent defense as well. The expected goals against per 60 below 1.77. I mean, that's minus 36% of what the regular Canucks are doing when they're not having Pettersson on the ice. So you could say like, oh, well, maybe it's a little skewed from some of these stats from how the players are playing through 5 games. Pettersson's showing up, and he's showing up extremely well on some of these analytics.
That's backed by the eye test too.
100%.
The performances we've seen from Elias Pettersson, like I can't really point to one game where Pettersson had a bad game. Like, I don't think there's been a game this season where you don't look at it and say that was a strong game for Elias Pettersson. I understand the sample size is small, but yeah, these numbers that you're pointing at here, these are elite two-way results. And this is kind of what everybody thought he was going to be after the 2019-20 season. Obviously, we saw it in the bubble. He was fantastic in the playoffs, and we're seeing it again now. So, again, like you hope it lasts for Pettersson. Sample size is small, but really, he's been the Canucks' only player that's really shown up here. And again, there's no disrespect to Bo Horvat, who's put in the goals, but we've had to talk about effort a few times with Bo already in this season.
Yeah, effort, leadership, put all that on Bo. Hey, we're gonna get to a prospects report in just a minute. There is one more thing that Canucks I want to bring up before we dive too far into this, but we have a lot of people in the chat right now. Listen, if you have any questions about prospects, this is what we like. We want to do lots more chat stuff on Friday. If you have any questions about prospects, throw it into the chat and I'll get to it in like 5-10 minutes here when we get to the prospects report. But can we talk about another really good thing from last night? Dakota Joshua broke the dog rating last night.
Yeah, he did well.
He came in at 116. We haven't seen a player on the Canucks at least over 100, even in Kyle Burrows' most doggy games. No, it came in with Dakota Joshua looking excellent. The guy was creating scoring chances at a ridiculous rate. Watching him just kind of put up what he was doing on the fourth line. You play in a fourth line role like that and you're putting up that many scoring chances just individually, like him along with, I think, Amon and Lazar. That fourth line really worked last night. So it's going to be interesting to see. And Matt just brought it up in the chat. Who sits for the home opener now? Is Höglander getting back into the lineup? Would looking at, like, you can't do it. Unfortunately, you can't do it. But would JT Miller sitting be the worst thing for this Canucks team after watching what he's done in the first 5 games? Not at all. But it won't happen. It can't happen. The guy making $8 million on his next contract, which hasn't even kicked in yet. It can't happen. And you know, like, at some point, at least the offense is going to come there for JT Miller. I think we know that. It's going to happen, right? He's going to have a 3-point game here coming up here pretty soon. The question is still just going to be how he does defensively. GLS, I'm not reading that in here. I see your message twice in here, copy and pasted it, and I don't think so. But with JT Miller, like, he's not coming out of the lineup. Does Niels Höglander come back in the lineup? And for who? Because are they going to break up that fourth line?
Sorry, I thought you were going to ask me if he could sit, because, I think it's Höglander out, but what has Tanner Pearson shown you, other than playing well with Bo Horvat, which is what I think is going to keep him in the lineup? That
was I did want to bring it up. Alex skipped it. I don't know what he's doing over there, but we got the other graphic for the Canucks stats through 5 games.
You'd be nice to Alex.
Well, I asked for it. There it is right there.
Also, I think I forgot. I don't know why this just came to mind. I forgot to mention technical producer Alex Lard. My apologies, Alex.
And that's why he's been like this. He skipped me right off the bat. It was because you skipped him. Okay, the interesting stats. We have already talked about Elias Pettersson quite a bit. 5 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. Then we have the other one I wanted to bring up, Quinn Hughes. See, Alex, he's all over the place here. Quinn Hughes now. I can't see the number. 27 minutes of ice time, I think Quinn Hughes is averaging right now. But Alex is he's pissed.
Zoom. That was a good zoom.
It was a good zoom for the Pettersson one. Oh, there it is. There it is. 27 minutes and 14 seconds. That's the average ice time for Quinn Hughes.
Take it away, Alex.
Alex.
More stats.
If Alex wants to talk, he can talk. The other stat, Tanner Pearson, you just brought him up. 10 penalty minutes so far through 5 games. And those are all minors. So he's had 5 minor penalties up to this point. And the last stat, which we haven't touched on too much, and maybe I'll let you have a little bit of runway before we get into the prospects, because I do see some questions coming in, which we will definitely get to in just a minute here. But the save percentage for Thatcher Demko sitting at .861 on the season.
I got some stuff.
Spencer Martin also a little bit low. My phone's covering out Spencer Martin at .879. That brings the Canucks save percentage of the season up to .865. Okay, well, let's go play a little Demko chat here.
Okay, do I get like leash off? I get to go.
Yeah, we'll give you no more than 4.5 minutes.
Okay, well, I've got a lot.
I don't think you'll be able to.
I've got a lot on Demko, so kind of.
I know Alex. He's already pissed. He's gonna pull up my sleeper cam. He's gonna have me laying in the chair here pretty soon, because I know the goalie talk. I know it's coming here, Alex. So you're not gonna surprise me with it.
Okay, we might have to mute your line if you keep this up, because I've got a lot on Thatcher Demko. So as I said earlier in the show, it feels like right now the Canucks' problems are death by 1,000 paper cuts, and there's a lot of different things plaguing this team. It's hard to pick one thing that's hurting this team and leading to all these blown losses. One thing that's been mentioned, and I think rightfully so at this point, is the play of Thatcher Demko. And I look back at the start of last year, and I kind of look at it similarly in the sense of he wasn't dynamite to start the year, but then when he started to steal games, they started to pick up wins. And I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but right now, Demko's playing below average, which kind of sucks, if I'm being honest with you, especially for a team that's built around elite goaltending. So how did we get here? I'm seeing a lot of different reads from Demko that weren't as sharp as they usually are. And when I say that, I mean kind of knowing when to go to his post. And, we talk about the reverse VH. We talk about post integration a lot on this show. Dropping into that reverse VH a little bit too early is kind of what I've seen plaguing Demko a little bit. Again, I don't even want to say too early, just at the wrong times, because sometimes it's cycled from below the goal line and he's still in it. You don't want to be in it when you're when the puck is ahead of the goal line by more than I'd say about a foot. And I wish I had a graphic. I should have made a graphic to display this.
You don't know how to make a graphic.
Yeah, well, anyways, you don't want to be in the reverse VH when the puck is kind of at the hash marks. And we kind of seen that from Demko dropping into it a little bit too early, leaving himself susceptible to some chances. And I want to break down this overtime goal. Last night, I'm running out of breath here. Break down the overtime goal. I do this
for prospects reports all the time. You got to just.
It was really funny because people were messaging me and saying, what the hell's wrong with Demko? Why is he swimming in his crease?
Oh, swimming.
Well, that overtime goal, right? Like, yeah, obviously, he finds himself in trouble, but people are saying he must be fatigued because he never swims around the crease. So here's what happened on that goal, folks. So Demko makes the save, and he's using his blocker, and he's thinking that when it gets shot blocker side, he's going to direct that puck into the corner. The way you know he's thinking that is on the goal, he extends his blocker out, and he's already pushing off with his left leg. You'll see that on the goal. And I actually think Kevin Woodley mentioned this on his hit with Halford and Bruff this morning, but that's the first thing you notice is Demko's already pushing off with his left leg. Now, that's not even something that's incorrect, because if he pushes that to the right side, as he should with a blocker save, there's a guy at the point, potentially. Someone comes in and takes a shot quick. You want to be set. You want to be ready to go, and you want to anticipate correctly. The problem for Demko is that puck actually hits the inside of his blocker, okay? And then the puck went out in front. Now, he's already pushing off with his left, which leads to him being spun around. Now, if that happened in normal times, he would plant his right foot, turn back, and go into the reverse VH, which he's really good at. He's good at his crease movement. You've seen it all before, folks. His post integration, you've seen it all. It's great. Usually he'd do that, but upon realizing it hit the inside of his blocker, and, he pushed off with his left, so he's looking right, realizing that it went off the inside of his blocker, he thinks that Kaprizov at the side of the net is going to have a shot immediately. So instead of taking time to plant his right foot and curl back and face the shot frontwards, he thinks that a shot's coming right away, so he just goes into desperation mode, or as the great John Garrett would say, desperado mode, with his back leg, trying to make a save with his backside. And then he's got to try and recover from that, and that's a really hard position to be in. But this wasn't a case of Demko just being tired or whatever it was people were throwing around of, well, usually he's so much better. That's why he ended up there, is because he tried to lead the puck to the corner with his blocker, as he showed on a blocker side shot. Puck unfortunately hit the inside of his blocker. He thought there was going to be a shot right away because Kaprizov did have it in a good spot, so he put himself in that position. Again, this doesn't come from being fatigued. This is just him having an unfortunate bounce. It went off the inside of his blocker. He thought there was going to be a shot, and if he tries to take the time to plant with his right foot and square up to that shot, it's going to take him too long, and he's probably going to get scored on right away. So he found himself in a really unfortunate position last night. But again, I'd even point back to that game against the New York Rangers when he lost his blocker. Everybody was talking about how great of a sequence that was. It was really similar to that. So I'm not going to go on to it much longer, but I'm not too worried about Thatcher Demko in terms of fatigue. He's playing below average right now. He has a horrible defensive environment in front of him, folks, but he is still playing below average, by about any analytic that you look at, any analytic measure, which, a lot of them are pretty favorable for goaltenders, but he is playing below average right now. And again, I don't think it's going to last forever. I think he's doing some good things. I just think, you look at his post play on some of it, dropping into that RVH a little too early is something that you can kind of look for when you watch the next game, see how he, if he changes that or whatever. Canucks had an off ice session, like we said, at 8 rinks today, but and Alex pulling up the sequence. Not a great sequence, obviously, for Thatcher Demko, but yeah, you'll see kind of what I'm talking about. I'm sure even podcast listeners have seen it. Thinks it's going to his blocker, turns, plants, and isn't going to be turning around because he thinks there's a shot. Obviously, Brock Besser does his best Alex Edler impression and sets up in the net, and it goes off him. It's an unfortunate sequence.
You know what? You get two birds stoned at once here, because JT Miller on this play, if you can get that thing right back up here, Alex. Like, look, the other two players, I know they've been out there for like 2 minutes, but at least the effort level's there. Right?
Everybody was gassed on that play.
But if you watch the play, and I know that this isn't great for the YouTube people, you guys have all seen the goal, the overtime goal. It's 4-on-3, and you see at least, Tyler Myers, at least he's at least somewhat engaged. Connor Garland, I think, is the other player on the ice. He almost makes the save there. Besser almost makes the save, and that would have been huge. But JT Miller the whole time.
Also, the other thing, you don't pick apart coaching decisions right now, it feels like, because there's not much working. But JT Miller and Brock Besser on the ice together in overtime.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't even think I almost get Besser because it's his hometown. You want him to end the game. That'd be great. But Miller, like, you shorten the bench, right, to get to overtime, just playing not to lose. And Miller's not a part of that.
I tell you what, this reminds me when I worked at 650, and a guest would come on that would talk like, I hate to say it, but like CFL football. Mm-hmm. The chat would go dead. And in the last 6 minutes, you talking freaking
because they're listening intently.
Reverse VH, it went dead. I had time to.
I explained that so well. Come on.
I didn't listen to much of it, but I did reorganize my hockey cards. I listened to I read half of Dan Milstein's book, which I'm reading right now.
Are you reading it?
Yeah, I'm reading it. I'm
nice.
halfway. Well, no, I'm audiobooking it.
Oh, is it him narrating?
No, I wish it was him.
That'd be so funny. Those that haven't heard Dan Milstein, Andrei Kuzmenko, and Danilo Klimovich's agent. He's so fun to talk to. He's great.
We'll get him on video one day on the show here.
That'd be great.
He was here on the roof with Kuzmenko, but reorganized my hockey cards and I found all these. These are my favorite ones here. My Nikolai Goldobin.
People like my goalie talk. Come on.
Rookie jersey signed. Look at that. Nikolai Goldobin. Bring him back. What's he doing? Playing the K probably still. But anyway.
Nikolai Goldobin is probably looking at what's happening with Elias Pettersson and the line mates he's got. Just shaking his head right now. And I think Stanch wrote that in the Stanchies last night. Yeah. Go read the Stanchies, folks.
Knucklehead head said, I was in the store. Thank you for goalie talk, Quadsy.
Yeah. Quadsy. That's a new one.
That's just a hockeyizing your name there.
Yeah. Well, at hockey rinks, I'm known as Quads. So.
Oh, but known as what?
Oh, shut up.
couple of prospect questions here we'll get to. I do have a prospect update. Actually,
good.
I should pull this up. I got the video here. And just give me a quick second here. Just pulling this up here. It was a nice play today. Jonathan Lekkerimäki got on the board. But we'll start with the highlight from today. Jonathan Lekkerimäki. He's not getting all the power play time that he was at the start of the year. Like, he's still on the power play unit. I'll get the video up here in just a minute. Here he is, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, coming in here on the rush, picks up a primary assist. Puck goes back to him. He brings it back and bounces off the goaltender. Boom, you get a nice little assist there. It's the 5-on-5 points that you want to see from Jonathan Lekkerimäki. And I mean, we're starting to see that a few times more. We've had a couple 5-on-5 points in the last couple of games here. For the Canucks' first round pick and top prospect and Jonathan Lekkerimäki. Got to get some rookie cards to him here pretty soon here. But I don't know. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on Lekkerimäki. I did see a question about him, and like, these are the things where you need to see him be a little bit better at just kind of being a 5-on-5 player, because the skill's obviously there when you're seeing things, what he does on the special teams unit. But he was taken off for a little bit in the last game that I was watching. And then actually in today's game when I was watching it, I didn't see him on the power play the first 40 minutes. And then he gets there on the third period and actually was kind of like, he had like the third assist on a goal. He did a lot of work getting the puck and making a good pass to set up the two players that made the next two passes. So Jonathan Lekkerimäki, I thought, had a pretty good game today, even though he just had the one assist on the day. I felt like it was another one of those games where he played pretty good. Your boy, Aku Koskinen, Quads, third goalie in Harvard, what I'm hearing. So he's got a real uphill battle to even get into NCAA games at this point, just so you know.
We'll get there. It's all about practice.
Okay. Other one, Abbotsford, 3:00 today. Weird start time. They're playing against what's this? You know what the Vegas AHL team is called? They're the Coachella Valley Firebirds.
I thought that was Seattle.
Maybe.
That's Seattle.
No, Palm Springs is you're right. Palm Springs is the
Vegas.
Is Vegas's minor league team.
Yeah. Coachella Valley Thunderbirds. Shout out Cody Sievertson.
Oh, he's in the chat too. He's gonna give it.
Cody Sieverson wrote a preview for Canucks Army. I read it. I edited it.
Like a macaroni from Canucks Knucklehead in there.
What?
Like a macaroni is what we should call him.
Oh, for Lekkerimäki.
Clayton asked, would you have chose Lekkerimäki or Kemel? Says we're talking about practice. I probably would have gone with Lekkerimäki still. And listen, Kemel had a really good World Juniors there, and I think that was like, what are you doing?
I don't even know who Kemel is.
I know. This is what happened. Remember when you were on Sakaris and Price and they asked you about a
prospect? Yeah, they asked me about a Kukos Kemel. That's what I went to talk about, and I gave them like 20 minutes of chat, and they were like, were you upset about Stankoven? I'm like, no. And I texted you after. I'm like, who's Stankoven? I was joking, folks. I knew who Logan Stankoven
I also see Knucklehead wants to see the lobster lighter.
Close out the show with that.
No, we got a lot of stuff to get to still.
Okay.
Lobster lighter. It sucks. It takes about. Oh no, there we go. We got some flames.
Okay, no flames in the office, please.
And the new camera. I don't even think I can see that.
Puts his camera out of focus.
Yeah, okay. Burning up over here. Hey, that was a really good start. The lighter normally it's horrible. Never works ever.
The 2022-23 Vancouver Canucks.
Light it up, baby. Vancouver Canucks. Fundy National Park.
And there's Elias Pettersson.
I also got this shirt from the same spot here, the Lobster Trap.
Okay, can we wrap this up now?
No, sorry. I know. The video stuff, it's getting me. The Henderson Silver Knights. Yeah, so who the heck's Coachella Valley then?
Seattle. I just said
Well, who's Palm Springs then?
I don't know. You're the AHL guy.
I thought it was Palm Springs. I'm not the AHL guy. Where's Cody? He's back at work here all of a sudden. I missed him around.
Okay.
Anything else you want to wrap up with here? No prospect stuff?
I got nothing. The Canucks need to get a win.
I'm excited to see. Yeah, before I get to the bet, tomorrow at the game, I don't know if anybody in the chat's going, let me know. Super interested to see just like what the vibe is in that arena, man. Because I really think it can go south really fast. Like the Canucks have had leads throughout the first 5 games here, but if they go into tomorrow's game and it's like 3-0 in the first period against a Buffalo team that is buzzing, you can pull the video up if you want, Alex. They're grittying through the locker room. You know what the gritty even is, Quads? It's whatever.
Zach Wilson, he's got that dog in him. That's how I know what it is.
Look at this here. You got. I know the podcast listeners can't see. Yeah, there's Greg here saying, "Quit rushing us." Quads. These guys like they are vibing right now. You don't see anyone in the Canucks locker room doing that. I'll tell you that. So I would be a little worried what happens tomorrow. That's a big, strong team. Canucks don't match up well against big, strong teams. Matt's asking about Myrenberg. I actually checked in with because he didn't play earlier this week, so I checked in. Still haven't heard anything. No update on why he wasn't in the lineup earlier this week. But we've liked what he's been doing so far this season. Yeah, that's the other thing. Knucklehead says Coachella is Seattle's farm team.
That's what I said.
Who the hell's Palm Springs?
I don't know.
Maybe they're the same thing.
Okay. I'm literally Googling.
Lisa says I'm going to Abbey versus Coachella game in Seattle on Sunday. Kevin says I'll be at the Carolina game on Monday. Yash says I wish you guys luck.
Okay. The Coachella Valley Firebirds are in the Palm Desert. There's no team called the Palm Springs whatever. So it's both.
Well, once again, I've played myself. I got 3 Nikolai Goldobin rookie cards I want to show to the YouTube listeners. So there's a couple that you know what? Bad on the video. This one, these are from the OHL. I got this one. It's his rookie season. Nikolai Goldobin, good kid. And then this one right here, even better. Zephyr Epic, shout out to them. OHL rookie card, Nikolai Goldobin, the Sarnia Sting.
You're complaining about goalie talk, and this is what you bring on?
Oh, if you want goalie talk, there it is right there. Thatcher Demko rookie card as well.
Those pads.
You don't like those, eh?
I like them. That was pre-Ian Clark.
All right, we'll get to the bet, and then we'll get out of here. It's been fun in the chat here Friday. We try to have a little bit more fun on Friday.
And we did have fun, and again...
Well, when you're not rushing us out, I don't know what train are you catching. I can see the train's not even moving down there.
Saturday's going to be a big game for the Canucks.
I'm excited for it.
And again, we'll break it down on Monday.
Zephyr Epic, there he is. Get the logo on top there. I like it. It looks good. Zephyr Epic's got one of the best logos in the game. I got a mug from Zephyr Epic and a hat.
Yeah, it's great. I have the mug. I still use the mug a lot.
I haven't seen a Betway mug come in here yet, but let's get to the Betway bet. Betway. San Diego Padres to win. Money line, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, both with 1+ bases. You like this one? 4.5?
I do. I like the Padres against the Phillies. I think it's a good matchup, although wow, it sucked to see Yu Darvish not get that win. Yu Darvish has been dynamite throughout the postseason, and baseball's such a funny sport because they play the Dodgers. Dodgers are obviously a much better team than the Padres, and the Dodgers just didn't show up for that series, much to my delight. And Josh Hader out of nowhere, guy who they acquired at the deadline.
They hated him too. They used to.
Oh my gosh! Well, I even was texting you about it because I was watching.
They barely knew him. They already hated her.
I was watching all these blown saves by Josh Hader, who's supposed to be this great closer, and I was just like, holy! And they had to take him out of the closer's role. He was pitching in 7th innings at some point this year. Now he's been dynamite in the postseason. Knock on wood that he stays that way. I should have worn my Padres hat
base
today.
Hit Machado, base hit for Harper.
It's Padres a great bet. Yep. Okay, so go check out Betway. We'll
Finally,
close it up
people
there.
In the chat, they say they want to see more. I got Mike, John, Garrett, Clayton, everyone's saying more cards on the camera. So here's a and you can't see the chat, Quads, but everyone's going nuts for it.
Yeah.
There's a Gyarados. Look at that. If you look at the old original Pokemon cards, anything better?
Is that how you spell Gyarados? I thought it was Gyr. I didn't know there was another A in there.
You know what? If it's a misspell, it's probably worth a little bit.
Yeah, you should look that up because I played a lot of Pokemon, had a lot of Gyarados.
We're gonna have to get the whole book out here then.
Okay, well let's
you
do
talk
it.
For you talk.
Yeah. Let me close out the podcast.
I got the whole binder ready.
Gets the binder out. Okay.
I got another Gyarados.
Okay. Enough. We'll close it out there. For my co-host Chris Faber, our technical producer Alex Allard, my name. My name is David Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Yeah, there's an A in there, the Gyarados. Yep, right there. Lots of shinies in here, too.
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation, delivered by DoorDash. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?